Okay, hello. Oh, do. Don't be talking to me when I'm on the class. Unless you want whatever you say recorded. I don't know what people are saying, and they might be sending me a message that they wouldn't want people to know. So, I hope that wasn't anything you didn't want somebody else to know. Okay, so anyway, uh, I'll be right back. Hold on 1 second. I gotta get my phone. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. Just a second here. I gotta check something out. Okay, it's just about hooves. So it's cool, but I gotta tell Holly, don't be messaging me right now. I'm on the class. Class and live screen. Okay. Well, I talk to people privately. Hi, Annette. God bless you today, dear. Um, I talk to people, on Messenger. They might message me and say something they wouldn't want other people to see. Um, that's the danger. I don't know any way to turn off Messenger when I'm doing this. If somebody knows, that'd be great. Okay, so um, anyway, today I gotta find out. I gotta go. Actually, I gotta go to Messenger and find out. Try and remember who sent me pictures of certain feet. Mm, it wasn't those feet, but I gotta do those feet too. See, okay, I gotta go. Gosh. Well, you're gonna have to entertain yourself while I figure out what I'm doing. Put on some music, get some popcorn, do something. Let's see. Okay, we'll go over here, see if people put their name on here. Um, okay, I got should have two of these. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. Okay. Uh, all right. I think I put about one. Nikki Shores. Okay, let's go to Messenger to find out because there was this one horse I wanted to do last time I did this, and then I couldn't remember. I could remember the feet, and I couldn't place the name of the person with the feet. I'm really, 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 really bad about names. Um, Part of it is because, I mean, if I'm not under pressure, I'm good. But if I'm under pressure to have to introduce somebody, I will forget my own mother's name. Literally, literally. It's like I got a mental block. Uh, this is my mother. Can't remember her name. Okay. Let's see if it's here. Aha! I found it. It's Nikki Shores. Alrighty then. This is the foot I wanted to do. Uh, Last time I did this, whenever that was, and the bad thing about that is that I was trying to save that video in the video file and I wound up deleting the whole thing. So I hope you got to watch parts of it. It doesn't matter because I'm going to tell you something. I am very repetitive, and so we'll cover whatever was in that again a few thousand times. Believe me. You could just ask anybody that's been with TAC for any length of period of time when we'd have the hoof chats on Zoom. I mean, they go 3 and 4 hours. We've got hundreds of hours actually of videos, which I need to share this other page that they're on, that some of those are on. But just to listen when you're doing stuff and stuff like that, that still helps even if you're not actually watching a video, I think. Okay. So we're just going to go through Nikki's horse's feet here. And now I can look here. For some reason, these feet aren't, for some reason, these are reminding me of Stephanie uh, Noriega's. Do I pronounce? See, I never pronounce people's last names. I just see them with my eyes. Anyway, Stephanie has a pony that is very bound up in the back of the foot here. And for some reason, that's reminding me of that. See, the way, look, if I save this, let's see, just a minute. Okay, let's download that. And then we're going to open it. Uh, Let me see here. And we're going to enlarge it. Boy, that's a good camera. Look at how clear that is when it's enlarged. Okay, see, whenever you see the hair going down like that, that's not good. Like over here, you see this? But then right there, it goes down. That means that that horse is hoof bound. And what we mean by hoof bound is that it can happen in nature and it can happen when people trim. In fact, the all of the barefoot trims, one way or another, incorrectly trim the heels and starts taking the internal foot. It starts shortening the hoof capsule from here to here, going forward this way. Sometimes the hairline will be down like this, but sometimes it's straight across like this. And then you'll just see a bit of a curve right at the end here because it's being pulled in between the heels, in between these. This ain't a real heel, by the way. See, this is one of the feet that has deceived us because we didn't know just exactly what was going on with the whole back of this foot, which is fat and cartilage, thin cartilage and fat. The digital cushion is fat. I mean, they can call it fibrofatty cartilage and all that, but it is primarily fat. And it may have little trampolines, a cartilage running through it or whatever that makes it more buoyant or whatever, like a trampoline. That's what Susanna Martinez describes it as, like a trampoline. I really like that description. Um, and see, so it's like a trampoline, and so when the short pastern and the long pastern bone descend like that on that trampoline, what's that trampoline doing? Toing, toing, toing. That's what gives your horse his spring in his step. And so you have to have this digital cushion in its proper, exact, specific location for the horse's pastern bones to work right, to come down and have that spring and have that suspension in them. And so everything they have taught about the digital cushion is wrong. And maybe I'll just show that today instead of flares and hoof wall deviation. See, what is a flare? A flare is hoof wall deviation. That hoof wall should be perfectly fitted to the inner foot. When the inner foot is perfectly relaxed in its exact location where it should be. It should be perfectly fitted to that inner foot. So a flare, or what you might think is a flare, is a deviation away from what it should be. Like you can look right here and you can see this part of this wall deviates. It doesn't fit smooth around the foot. You can see that it deviates. Uh, why? See why? It doesn't do any good to try and correct flares unless you know why it's there, what caused it. And what I have found is that other than those kind of flares where the wall might get really long here in the toe, and then as the horse walks, the wall is being pulled out and torn away from the sole, and you got a big old dish out here like that. Other than that, in my opinion, from what I've seen structurally, all of these wall deviations that you think are flares are actually caused from the rear, from what's going on in the foundation of the foot, which is the rear of the foot. The rear of the foot is the foundation of the foot. And it's got to be solid and it's got to be correct, so it can support these walls correctly. Correct heel buttresses, along with a correct frog, adequate frog thickness, and frog stay, correct frog stay, um, that is what stabilizes this whole wall. Because this is just a shell. That's all it is. It's just a shell. And this shell grows from a real foot that's on the inside of there. And that foot is like your foot. Your foot is a certain size. It is of a certain makeup. It's got different parts in it, but it is one unit and it is covered with skin. And depending on how you want to walk, run, move, depends on what kind of shoes you wear. Um, a horse is never going to want to wear high heels. Neither is he going to want moccasins. Neither would he really want to go barefoot because that would mean he would have no capsule on his foot. See, see, this is the hard part to get through to people, that there is a foot in there covered with skin. Okay, because when you first take these hoof capsules off, you see this bloody stump. You know, and because people see the blood and everything, they really think, like I had somebody ask me the other day on the virtual foot, is that the bone? I went, no, that's the whole foot. And then I showed him the bones and the stuff that was inside of the foot. It had the hoof capsule taken off. See? So until we really get it in our minds that not only is what inside here a foot covered with skin, even though it grows the hoof wall, the bars, the sole, the frog, the periopal, that there is a foot in here and that it does not end right here. Doesn't end right there, folks. It extends up into here. All this cartilage around here, if you were to go in here and disconnect the short pastern bone, okay, you'll be left with a foot, and this is all part of the foot. And so people never look up here, because we've been trained to look from here down. And so what we really need to look at up here, this is the only part of the actual foot that is exposed, other than the fact that it's covered with hair. And of course in the back, some of the bulb and the digital cushion. The digital cushion is exposed. And so a flare, like she thinks she has a flare here. That is not really a flare. That is a bulge that is caused by the heels, by the cartilage, by the heels being incorrectly trimmed in such a way that it started to draw this cartilage and everything in the back of the foot down like this and then under like that. And the wall here, which should have been about back here, the wall here just started diminishing and going forward. Um, Now, like I said, we're used to seeing your typical barefoot with the 30-degree hairline, but a lot of people are growing hooves too. And a lot of times, what grows is this part stays bound under the foot, but this part will grow higher. We're going to look at the bottom here to see how much sole she's gotten here. Um, but a lot of times, what we've been growing and didn't realize it was we've just been growing false heels. See, false heel might have been down here at one time, like in your typical barefoot, but then because we didn't realize the whole back of the foot was bound, I better see if I'm still on. Uh, let's see. Oh, live producer. There we go. Oh, okay. I'm still here. Um, okay. So let me go back to that. Let me get another thing going here so I don't act. Well, no, we'll be all right. Okay. So, da, 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 da. Here we are again. So sometimes you just wind up growing this part of the foot, which is not really the actual heel. And what you need, because the back stays bound up under there, because a lot of times we're not trimming the frog enough, trimming the periopal enough, so that it will release the bulbs here. Okay, so that the bulbs will release and the cartilage will come in right. Okay, so what I want to do before we go on with this much, well, let's go ahead and look through again. What do you want to look for? You want to look for a hairline going down like that, curving down like that. That's when you know. See that cartilage, how that's pulled down like that? Not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be about up like this, like this. This one too. You can see the strain. Look at the strain. Look at the veins, tendon, whatever the heck's in there. It's probably tendons or ligaments. Sorry, I don't know much from here up. Okay? I know that this is a cannon bone. I know that the deep digital flexor tendon it is in here and the uh, blah blah blah. But I'm pretty much a foot person from here down. Okay, so the rest of you, you can figure out how if the cartilage here on the foot and the whole back of the foot where the digital cushion is and the hide is pulled down and stretched under here, um, taking away the base of support the horse is supposed to have here because the area where the heel buttress corium grows the heel buttress is pulled down and kind of under the foot. So it's really not growing all of the hoof wall that should be here. And these coriums are like grass. If you cover them up or smother them, they quit growing. Like when a bar grows over the seed of the corn and then you remove it, you'll see sole corium or very, very, very super thin see-through layer of sole that hasn't been able to grow because that area was covered over. Um, okay, but you can see the stress and the strain. That's why it's reminded me of Stephanie's pony because you see that he is so strained in here, by the way his foot is bound in the back. So, okay, so let's close that. Let's go to I want to open up another window. New window, go to Facebook. And in this regard about cartilage. Okay, now we are going to talk about flares or wall deviation after we understand some more of the anatomy, after we understand more of what's above the hairline. because it's the whole back of that foot and what's going on with the cartilage and the digital cushion and the frog corium that is causing what looks like a flare. That's why a lot of people can never get rid of flares because they don't realize that this wall deviation where the wall is deviating from its shape it's supposed to have is caused is a structural problem caused by another part of the wall pushing into it. In this case, let's see. I don't even think I want to look at that, whatever that was. Um, okay, da, 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 da. Just a minute. Let me find. Okay, we're gonna during this uh, hoof class, we're going to look at this thing I posted of these 2 feet right here. Okay, a tail of two hooves. A tail of two hooves. Okay, I'm gonna write something here. Hold on, got a cough. Okay. All right. Well, so which foot is the better foot? You know, let me open that up. Let me open it up. These feet and another deal here. Um, let's see. See, we're taking along the way around, kind of to get to the hoof flares and the wall deviations. Um, because it all starts in the back of the foot. All starts in the back of the foot. Um, let's see here. Wait, before I go there, I want to show you my horse's front feet when they were pigeon toed from trimming the heels out. And from trimming the lateral heels out more, which caused a major, what I thought was a flare on the lateral sides of both feet, so that they were very asymmetrical, way wide on the lateral sides. And what it did was when you do that, the more you trim out of a heel buttress, the weaker that side of the foot becomes, and the easier it is for that wall and that heel to be pushed forward. And so when the heel is pushed forward and it runs into the wall in front of it, well, it pushes the wall forward. Well, when the wall gets to a place where it can't be pushed forward anymore, it's going to go somewhere. Well, then it gets pushed out. See, that's what you got. Just a minute here. That's what you got here. This wall is pushed forward, and it's pushed forward to right about here, to right about here. And these horn tubules here are saying, we ain't going nowhere. You ain't pushing us out of this restaurant. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of something else. Okay, you ain't. If you hear gunfire in the background, okay, we're not in a riot or anything. It's my husband watching war movies on TV. Okay, so these horn tubules said, nope, we're not going nowhere. So this heel here is pushing forward, and so it's pushed to right here, and you can see that it wants to have a quarter crack right here. Okay, and then since nothing here wants to move, well, then it's going to take the path of least resistance, which is outward. And it will especially do that if you ever rasp the wall down right here. Because, that's how farriers say they're getting rid of flares, is they dress down the wall. And what that does is it gets rid of the harder outer horn tubules, and it thins the wall down to the softer part of the wall. So then you got this back here pushing forward to a softer part of the wall, and this wall here saying, I'm not going nowhere. And so what happens here? It gets pushed outward. Well, what happens when it gets pushed out? Well, it pulls the sole and the bar and all that direction. So now you got this situation uh, where before you can really correct it, you what you have to work on is correcting the heels. As you start getting the heels corrected, and what'll happen is as this is drawing back and you're working on your bar and the sole and all that area, as this is coming back, it's going to suck that side back in. See there? Okay, so anyways, uh, okay, but to correct it, you're going to have to release the foot so that this cartilage comes back up and out back here. And it can start growing the correct amount of hoof wall back here. Now, I don't know, this picture, the way it's white there, I don't know if it's just because, I don't know, or if she may have rasped that a little bit. I don't, I don't think I see any rasp marks, but I just wondered since it was cleaner and whiter there. Because see what I did, let me go over here just a second. What I did to my gilding, I was trimming from the top, and so that's how his feet got so asymmetrical and so flared on the outside. So let me open this up. Okay, okay, didn't have that great a camera back then, but his heels were very trimmed out here. And you can see how wide this foot is on this side. And see, not much bar, things like that. Just a minute here. Okay, so he was not pigeon-toed. But when you over trim one heel and when that heel gets pushed forward, uh, on some horses, it's not just gonna stop over here. On some horses, it just that heel pushes forward and it pushes forward every single horn tubule clear over to here, so that it slightly tweaks them going around this way, just like if you're to slightly twist a jar lid, you know. And so because I consistently trim on feet no matter what. So they always turn into the same mirror opposites of one another. Like this side of this foot was the same as this side, and it was pushing this foot this way. And so his feet were turning in. See? Now his feet are not like that today. I'll show you a picture of his feet now. Wait a minute. Let me see what I got there. Yeah, just a second. See, if I make them a little smaller, it's a little, you can see it a little better. See how they twist in? Okay, I'll show you a picture of his feet now. And when you'd look in the front here, the horn tubule, instead of being fairly straight down, it really did go over this way. Just all of them just kind of slanted this way. And on this foot, they all just kind of slanted that way. Now this foot here wound up getting a big crack right here, because when all these horn tubules were pushed forward, they got to right here, and even though they pushed some over this way, they finally said, we're not going any further, and so I got a crack. When when the horn tubules push forward and they finally run into something or a spot where they're not going to move, the pressure keeps coming from back here, but what's up here is not moving, and so that's where it cracks. Um, okay, now I just got to figure out where. My I need to get rid of that thing. Get over here. Okay. Um, Okay, this is what I got right now. This isn't might not show it, but we'll see. Anyway, this probably isn't the best picture to show how they don't turn in because they do kind of look like they're turning in here. But if you're down here on the ground, they don't look like that. He's not pigeon-toed at all. You can see this foot looks really straight here. He might be standing a little bit that way. But this foot is very straight too. See, but there's that crack. That's what developed. And it's starting to close up now. Because what happens too is now that everything's getting straightened and everything's coming back this way, and this side just, this crack was almost closed, but then I really did some good correction on this side and it really sucked in and came back. And when it did, it kind of pulled that open again. But then when I trimmed it, I was out there looking, and that crack's almost gone now. Let's see, maybe this is from my last trim. Okay, you can see how this side now does not deviate any more than this side. They're pretty even, whereas this side used to be a lot wider there. So when it sucked in and the heel pulled back, it pulled it pulled this whole side back, and so it made it look like this crack was getting worse, but the crack used to be clear up to here. And look, it's starting to close up now right there. But that was all from trimming the heels out and then rasping down the sidewall, and the heels were pushing that wall out. So that is what you might call a flare, but all flares are is hoof wall deviation from where it's supposed to be, and you want to figure out why it's there. So you work on the reason for why it's there to begin with. See? So you can't just, it's not always a matter of scooping the quarters. Just like you can have what looks like a jammed hoof wall that is actually the whole foot is bent. And so you can uh, scoop the quarters and bevel the quarters till you're blue in the face, and that jamming is not going to come out. Because the problem is not that it's wall jamming, the problem is your heels are trimmed out, it's bent the whole foot, and so it just looks like jamming. See, and you have to be able to tell the difference. I've had both. I've had both. Because if you're not understanding why it's doing something, then you're not going to make the right decision on how to trim it, what to work on. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, look at that. See? And also, when you have no heel buttress, there is no stability. I think I already said this in the capsule. Because, after all, this is what you're dealing with. Just a second here. Oh, I'm in pictures. Okay. Here we go. You're just dealing with the shell. There's the shell. Looks big here, like thick, but what? It's not even a half an inch thick, hardly. I don't think. I guess I need to measure those. But anyway, it's just a shell. And the outer layer is the hardest, and it gets softer as it goes in. That's why it's not a good idea to rasp down that outer layer, because you have a 1,200-pound horse standing in here. Remember, there's a foot in here that's attached to a big horse that has a lot of weight, and that this shell gets a lot of pounding, and so the very outer layer is the hardest, and it helps contain those inner layers. So when you rasp down any of that outer layer, it takes away that hardness. It also takes away the protection, the moisture barrier. And so the weight of the horse pushing down into this and out in this capsule on soft wall that isn't contained by the harder shell of that wall will cause that wall to push out. And so that in and of itself causes a form of laminitis. You know, uh, because the lamina are affected. If I take off the hard outer shell on the whole of this hoof wall and I got a 1,200-pound horse sitting in here, I don't know the math for the weight per square inch that works into, but it's way more than 1,200 pounds of pressure being exerted inside here and pushing down and outward in every direction. And so I take off the hardest outer part of the shell. What's that going to do? Let's say this is foam. Okay, let's say you got an outer shell of steel, about, I don't know, plate steel, very thin. But in here, this would be like almost foam, right? Okay, and so the foot is in there and it stays contained, even though this is kind of foamy. This outer shell keeps its shape. And then you take that steel shell off. Bleh. See? It's just going to go all over the place. So that's why we don't, I'm not going to say never, never. We don't rasp down the outer hoof wall. We figure out different ways to grow out flares if a horse has got one. A lot of times you can have a dish in the dorsal wall that is also caused by what's going on in your heels because of what is mechanically happening to the actual foot inside as the whole back of the foot is being pulled down, shoved in, and shoved up under the back of the coffin bone. That can cause the coffin bone to tip down and around and into the ground and be pushing the toe pushing down and back, and it causes the hoof capsule itself at the dorsal wall at the toe to be pushing forward and up. So what happens is this foot has to fit in here. The foot itself, has lamina that fits in these little slots here. This is the insensitive lamina. Then you got the sensitive lamina, the flesh on the foot, the little leaves that fit inside here. And these have to be in perfect alignment to have weight bearing equilibrium so that the capsule's not pulling against the foot and the foot's not pulling against the capsule. And so the heel buttresses back here, eh, have to be have to be exactly right. The heel buttresses and the frog corium and the depth of the heel in the capsule here have to be just right to support the back of that foot to keep it in the two laminas in perpendicular, I guess. I don't even know if I'm using that word right, but to keep them in alignment together so that they are meshing together. They're in weight bearing equilibrium together, and one is not pulling against the other. And when you over trim the heels, that's exactly the process that begins right then. And that is you have the hoof capsule pulling one way and the foot pulling another. And so, with every step, standing, everything, the hoof capsule is working against the foot. And then when this foot, with this capsule that's supposed to specifically fit that foot, you don't fit, the foot isn't supposed to fit the capsule's supposed to fit the foot. But when it's incorrectly trimmed and all this is distorted on the capsule and the proper support, length, fit taken away, then this capsule starts to deform down here. And because 2/3 of that foot is fat and thin cartilage, well, it just pulls the foot right with it. See? Now the foot is growing it, right? So as the capsule distorts and pulls the foot down into its smaller, distorted shape, then the foot grows. The foot becomes its own worst enemy by the the growing all of this here in the shape that the foot has been pulled into and forced into. So it's growing its own binding, you might say. And so it's becoming a totally, you get false heels. They're not the real heels. Um, you get bars that aren't really genuine. You get a frog that's not really how it's supposed to be. And it all grows. And then, especially if you never trim the periopal, you never trim the frog, all these things they tell you never to do, then it grows there. It hardens like a rock and it holds that foot in place. That's one of the big things I've learned this year. Like, I was always got big on trimming frogs, but I realized I wasn't even trimming them enough. That you really gotta during this process, you really gotta keep that frog fresh and growing so that it will loosen up enough to let loose of the frog corium. Okay, so there's your foot, and there's that shell that's supposed to fit the foot. And again, what happens when the shell gets distorted when you over lower these heels? See, these heels got to support this foot exactly. Well, then the capsule begins to pull the foot into its shape and form. There's a foot there. Okay, here I have I think this is a dissection I did where I pushed the foot a certain way. See, this is the way it should have been, and this is what it can be pushed into. Let's see here. Where am I at? Huh. I'm looking for that on there. Where is that? Hmm. Oh, okay, there I am. Up there. I'm just seeing what I got here. Anyways, you know, uh, I'll just look at these and look at these and look at these and look at these, trying to understand them. You know what I mean? Okay, and looking at the side is one thing. Okay, now this is something I'm seeing that I wasn't seeing before. See if I can explain this. Okay, I gotta find a picture of a back of a foot. Hold on. Dum dum dum. I'm a looking. Hold on. Be patient. Well, why don't I have the back of any feet here? Okay, well this will work. I think I can show you here. I can show you here. Okay, this is what I'm seeing. Um, that as these heels are trimmed out, and like say this heel, her heel wasn't fully restored yet. Come to find out, um, and she was still somewhat contracted, but she was sound when she died. This is my old mare Molly. And so as this heel is trimmed out, it starts moving this way, and it starts kind of pulling forward this way on the foot. And they can get wider unless the heels contract and they contract together. Either way can happen. But what happens is this part of the foot here, all this here, let me do this. All this part of the foot here starts getting pulled down like this way and pulled into between these heels. Does that make sense? This whole part of the foot here, all of this, these cartilages here, and all of this starts getting pulled down and under the foot so that you will actually see Um, let me see here. Okay. Now I lost my. Well, this kind of shows it to you here. Okay, you will see a heel here, and all of this. See, this is on a horse that I trimmed for about 8 months. That I was had perfect feet. I didn't know it at the time, and I was trimming the heels out of him, and it was pulling all this cartilage down like this and pulling it under the foot, and yet, open with paint. I'll try and explain this. Just a second. Let's make it gray. Okay, and yeah, oh, I want gray. Okay, so here's the coronary band. This is where the heel buttress should grow. Okay, well, this right here is supposed to be up here, and that heel buttress should be growing like this, like that. And so you see the coronary band here. Again, this would be the heel buttress corium that grows the heel buttress right there. And that heel buttress and all this cartilage should be clear up here and growing like this. All right. Um, okay, so your hoof wall heel, you no longer got the heel buttress, the true heel buttress here. Okay, that was growing up here like this. Instead, you got sidewall here. You got some sidewall that's growing right here. And this is like the hoof capsule now. See? This is like the hoof capsule. And you may not even see any real growth rings curving down. See, we've found that a lot of times you really see growth rings on the side curving down. And so, just a minute here. So, uh, there were two types of distortion we pretty much saw as heels being trimmed out. One, of course, is your typical barefoot with your 30-degree hairline, like so, right? The other one was kind of like this, and you would see the growth rings like that, really curving down on the side. Okay, but this one's different. This one, uh, this one you can see, ah, um, you can see straight growth rings all the way back to where the heels are trimmed out, like so. And it even looks like you got real heel and real heel buttress, like so. But then this part of the foot, this whole part of the foot, is pulled down and under and forward between this heel and this heel here. So that you can't even tell. This literally gets bent up under the foot like so. Now here's your frog corium. Where does it go? It also gets totally pulled in between the heels. Just like you were to take, if let's say if I had this foot in my hand, I was take this little piece here, and I would just push it under the foot. See? And then it makes it look like this is the heel. And it sucks down the digital cushion, and it covers this up so it's not growing anything. See, it's slowly been trimmed out and sucked up under the foot, and then the frog and everything and the sole. That's why on these kind of feet, you'll never see any sole right here. They're like hollow right here. You can't get any sole to grow because the heels have been wrapped up. and the frog corium and the heel buttress corium here is all tucked up under here and pushed up under there. Okay, well, if I take and I pull all this under here and push it up, then I grow a frog, which keeps pushing it up, pushing it up, pushing it up. Oh, never trim the frog, right? Well, what's inside there? What's right here? Right here in this foot are the wings, the back wings of the coffin bone. So I'm pushing all this up that way. Okay? Now that coffin bone is connected up here to the coffin joint, where the joint on the, I know that navicular bone's in there too, but basically those are together and that coffin bone is stuck there so that it rotates back and forth, right? And so you're pushing all this tissue up there along with the frog that's growing on this frog here, pushing up. And you never know this because the foot takes on a whole false look. Has fake little bars sometimes, a lot of times. Has a funky fake frog. Has everything you think it's supposed to have. The only thing is the real stuff's been pushed up under here and is not growing. Now the frog is growing, but it even has a fake central sulcus. Um, And so all this is pushed up into this part of the foot. What's that do? That pushes the wings of the coffin bone up this way. Well, if I take the coffin bone, just a minute here, the coffin bone that is in here, you know, however it is, that's not exactly how it is. That's not very good. If I push this up, let me undo that. Then up into there, then what happens to the toe of the bone here? You push this up, what happens to this toe? It's going to be pushed down, down, down and back, up and forward, down and back. Well, at the same time, what you have done to the back of this hoof capsule here has caused a situation where the horn tubules, a lot of times, instead of being like this, are more like this. And so the whole capsule is pushing forward like this. Meanwhile, the foot itself is being pushed up that way, and you see the foot here is being pushed down and back. The toe of the coffin bone is pushing down hard into the sole in front. And so if the horse doesn't have very much sole, which a lot of times, most of the time in farrier, they've trimmed it all out right here, then there's nothing holding this toe in the hoof capsule. And so the wall is going this way. The toes coming down and that way. What happens? The lamina in here start to separate. And if there's real thin sole or not enough sole or this wall here starts to get way out like this, then this toe, what's it going to do? It's going to drop right through the sole, and that's where you get your laminitis. Mechanical laminitis. Most laminitis is mechanical because people have not recognized, you know, uh, hair, looky here, because see, it's going to look kind of like this. Just a second here. Here, let's just take all this out of here. You know, all this right here has been shoved up under here. And then it's got stuff growing over it so you don't even see it. You got a fake heels, fake bulbs, fake frog. Everything is designed to look like a foot, but it's not the true foot. And the cartilage up on top, that's been pulled down and under the foot like that. And so this is why we need to start taking pictures further back of the foot aimed at the bulbs here because that's when you really see it. Otherwise, you don't see it. If you just take a picture straight on from the side, you don't see it. Um, Not as bad anyway. Uh, Now, my horse, his cartilages and his coronary band. Now, here's the thing. Let me back up here. This this area right here. Just a second here. Okay, where's the brushes? Oh, right there. Okay. Here's your coronary band. Coronary band isn't supposed to go down like that. You know, and see what happens is it goes down like that and it gets shoved up under there. And of course, the wall's covering it right here so they don't even know. Coronary band isn't supposed to do that. Your coronary band is supposed to be just like this, all the way to where it wraps around the back of the foot. It is to encircle the foot just like this. That's why it's called a coronary band. You know, from the word coronation, crown. It crowns the top of the foot. It's not supposed to dip down back here because stuff grows from it. You know, everything that grows from it has to grow straight. Oh, come on, quit it. It's got to, all that stuff has to grow straight. Anything that, this ain't right, but watch, here, wait a minute. Eh. Okay, let me show you here. Okay, here's coronary band. Now it does go behind the bulb here, okay? Which you can't really make it do that, but you know what I mean? Um, okay, so your horn tubules that grow from it are in alignment and they're rigid, right? Okay, so even back here, that's how they're supposed to grow. Get it? Okay, but if the suspense is killing me here, but if instead, wait a second. Don't lose the train of thought. If instead your coronary band goes like this, you know, or even if it's just like that, uh, see how it's going to grow at different angles. Just a minute. If it's like this, then by the time you get to here, now all of a sudden you got, stupid thing, you got this going on. See, this is not structurally, these things are not supposed to be pushing into each other like that. Not That's not supposed to be happening. Um, and so in regards to this deal here, okay, something that happens is just a second here. When you finally trim out all the heel there, we'll take this little piece out. That's the heel. This little piece here, uh, just a second here, can wrap right under the heel. This piece can be pushed right up in between the two heels so you can't even see it. But if we take pictures, we can see how that coronary band comes down like that and wraps under the inside of that heel. And so this is a form of distortion that we have been missing, and this is why people have thought their heels were right. Only thing is, it looks like heels, but not. And what you then you have to look at the top of the foot. What's going on with the cartilage? If you do not know the correct shape and form of the cartilage, you're going to be deceived. And see, that's been the big problem. They have so ignored the back of this foot that any shape goes. You know, um, because all they see in the halls of hoof learning is a capsule with parts in it. And of course, as long as the coffin bone is a certain way, the rest of it can pretty much be arranged any old way. All you got to do is look at x-rays to see that. Look at the coffin bone, but then look at the back of the feet in all these x-rays. Everything under the sun, every conglomeration, every configuration under the sun. Okay, but that's not how it is because this is a foot. See? Well, I think I just closed some stuff I didn't want to close. I hope I did not close. Oh, good. I was afraid I would have closed this. Ah, see, if you close this, then you're in trouble. Then your live video goes away. Okay, now I wanted to look between the heels, so let me come up here again. Pictures. I want to find a good picture showing the back of the foot again. Dum 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 dum. Okay, I'm just gonna turn this around. Okay, so this coronary band here can get pulled down. Now this one here isn't bad. You see how it's straight across? So the coronary band is pretty straight. But what you're going to see in this other type of distortion is you're going to see this coronary band pulled down this way, both on both sides, and then underneath the heels, coming underneath like this. Now, I'll show you an example of this. Just a minute. Here's an example. See how this is pulled and down under there? This is sidewall. This is not the heel of a horse. This is where the coronary band, the whole back of the foot, look at the cartilage and the bulbs. The bulb that should be up here at 50 has been pulled down and bound under the foot here. This is exactly what I've been trying to explain to you. And of course, now the frog is here. If this area fills up with frog and the frog will still attach itself right here. This area fills up with periopal and or frog. You have no idea that this is even going on half the time. The way to tell though is we have to take more pictures from this angle because you will see this come down and curve under the foot. Now the all of this right here should be clear back here and up here. But this is how this happens. See, and so when you were trimming the heels on your horse or the farrier or whatever, and they kept taking heel, kept taking heel, kept taking heel, this is what gradually happened. Here's where the cartilage should be, clear up here. See, this here should be clear over here. So when the heels were trimmed out, it happened in degrees, just slowly, 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 and the whole foot started moving forward. Meanwhile, all the frog and everything was growing in such a way under here as it presented a whole false view of the sole. and the foot. This all would have been filled up with frog. This all would have looked just, it's like uh, a foot that is one third the size of, or well, two-thirds the size of what it should be. Yet you can trim up to one third of the foot out of the horse. More actually, if the foot starts to bend, you can trim up to half the length out of it, because not only can you get the back of the foot coming down and pulling under this way, shortening everything going that way, but then if you start chasing the toe because your toe keeps looking too long, then actually you can start pushing the whole dorsal wall of the coffin bone back this way. So you're pushing the foot this way from one direction and this way from that direction. And you see, that's where you see a can, a foot that shapes like a can. That's where you see horses that can't stand on their foot and they want to knuckle over. That's why you don't, on feet like this, you do not want to chase the toe, because they need, even though there's a flare there, they need it there so they have some way to stand up. Otherwise, see, as that coffin bone's being pushed up here, and then it's uh, pushing it forward there, pushing the dorsal wall here and down, and then the hoof capsule being pushed forward. As that's happening, this short pastern joint is being tipped forward, and so they can't stand up. Okay. Okay, so it is now 2:11. I've been on here for an hour, and we only explained a little bit. And I haven't done a hoof evaluation, but I'm gonna. And I haven't explained about these 2 feet, you know, about these two horses. Okay. So we're gonna do this number here. So okay, so I said, okay, here are two hooves off two different horses. These are brothers who belong to the same person and are almost identical siblings, but their front right hooves are kind of different, both black, of course. Which one do you think is the best and why? Okay, now this foot, we're going to look at number two first. Um, this foot is in need of a trim. This foot is similar to what my horse's foot looked like last time when it was in need of a trim. Okay, but what we see in this foot is something really interesting. Just a minute here. Let me open it up. Well, just a minute. Something ain't working out here. Huh. Well, my mouse just went crazy. Escape. Just a minute. I'm stuck for some reason and I can't help. I'm stuck and I don't know why. Just a minute. Okay, well, that got me out of there. I don't know what happened there. Let me go get those pictures from. Well, here, wait. I'm going to try this again. There isn't a download. I guess I did. Okay, so something I want you to notice. Remember, you do not want this coronary band curving down here. Why is that? Because of structure. Horn tubules have to grow in alignment with one another. You can't have some growing this way and some growing that way and some growing that way. So the object and what we're looking to do is get a coronary band that is straight. It's at an angle, but it is straight from here to here. It doesn't go like that. See, now this coronary band is almost perfectly straight. It's got a little bit of a deviation right here. Okay, so since it's straight, what are you going to see up here in the cartilage? You see the cartilage here? Now that is what cartilage is supposed to look like. It is not round. If you see cartilage that is short and round or round at all, that foot is bound. Um, so this cartilage here is nice and straight. So I'll show you an example. I need to get some better examples of this, which I'm going to be doing some dissections, going to have some really awesome examples. We have to understand and know what is the true anatomy of the collateral cartilages. They call them lateral cartilages in barefoot, so I guess they only have one. So no, that's collateral. They have two. Ungual cartilages. They're called too. They could be called comedial cartilages. I don't know, but anyway, there's one of these on each side of the foot, and they're like the cartilage on the breastbone of a chicken. Okay, just like that. And they have inside of them. They're not even that much thicker. Well, they're somewhat thicker, but maybe about 3 times as thick. And attached to all this is digital cushion. Attached to the inside of this is digital cushion, all the way across the back of the foot into the other side, and attached all in here. Digital cushion on the other side of there. And so, okay, I want to. What was I going to show you? Oh, I was going to try and find a picture of the cartilage, how it's shaped. Let's see how it is shaped. I don't really want to use virtual foot. I want a real foot. See, and it is hard to find a real foot with a decent shaped cartilage, because so many of them have the heels trimmed out, pulling it all down. Okay, there we go. See, that is the shape. Okay, now you can't really see the back part of it here. All right, but the back part would be more straight like this. All right, the cartilage is not round like this. You don't look here. Look at the coronary band. How it's straight all the way back to here. And then as it turns around the corner, it's straight too. It doesn't dip down like that. Okay, so this grew really straight and accurate horn tubules. So coronary, because it crowns the hoof wall. It grows the hoof wall. This is the crown, but this is not the end of the foot. The foot ends up here. See it? Again, if I was to go in here and take a knife and take the short pastern bone loose and take this part off, you're going to be left with this foot here. So this is just as much part of the foot as this. And you see how it's attached to the back of the coronary band. Now look up here. Isn't it interesting how from here on it is not attached to the leg right in here? That's because this is supposed to be loose and kind of flowing so that when this pastern bone descends down onto the trampoline of the digital cushion, okay, when this pastern bone descends down, these open up. They open and close as the pastern ascends, descends, and ascends. And so, that hoof capsule has to fit this just right. But when the heels are over trimmed, it begins a process of pulling all this down into several different deformations And taking this cartilage and it'll literally just round it out there. And it can round it out. And this heel, there's only bone to about here. This is all cartilage right here. This can all be crushed and the capsule can be compressed up over it and crush it down and the whole capsule reduced to this size, compressing this whole foot underneath it and presenting you with a false foot. So again, this is a major part of what we want to look at when we were looking for hoof distortion. We're looking here. So we have to know the correct shape of this. Now, let's see here. See if I see anything else I want to show you here. Not right away. Okay, so look at the squareness of this cartilage. Isn't it awesome? That that is what it is supposed to be like. Just like that. Now, these heels, there's still some more wall to grow in to push this up even some more. I wouldn't be surprised if it winds up being even probably to here. And then the whole thing's going to come up a little more because you see all this wall tubules here? They're going to have to shorten up and come back. And then see, as the coronary band and the cartilage is released to come back to its rightful position, then it starts growing hoof wall from its rightful position. See? Which, again, just like when it gets distorted and all pulled under here and the hoof wall and the sole and the bars and the frog all grow and hold it right there, so also as we are releasing boundaries and changing the boundaries of the distorted hoof capsule and thinning down the frog and making sure it's growing and viable and it's growing and it's pushing the foot up, plus the whole time that that foot is being pulled down and around and down under here, well, it's pulling cartilage and fat under there. So the whole time that cartilage and fat is under tremendous pressure and pulling back up the whole time. So when we allow the heels to grow, the what happens is people say, "Well, my heels just aren't growing." Well, what's happening is they're growing, but the growth which comes down from here is as this cartilage is pulling up, it's pulling the growth up with it and it's adding hoof wall into the capsule. It's adding the capsule in that you trimmed out originally down here. And so it's pulling all this up. It's pulling the coronary band up. It's starting to grow everything from a new position. And so that's why this is something that happened too. We were growing false heels 2 inches and didn't know it because we didn't know this foot was doing it. We've only been seeing this last couple years and still not fully understanding everything that was going on. And so some of us really got stuck with hoof capsules that were, well, like this one. Did I take a, here we go. Okay. We would grow hoof capsules like this and think we're there. But wonder why our horses weren't quite sound like we wanted and different things like that. Why do I still have that flare? Why is this going on? Why is that going on? See, that horse looks like he has heels, right? But those are not his true heels. He won't have his true heels until his cartilage comes way up like this, is flat up here, and look, all their cartilages are the same. They're different sizes, but they all are the same anatomically. There is not one horse's cartilage that was ever supposed to be rounded like that or pulled down. Look at that stress point there. Pulled down like that. Never was supposed to be a coronary band that came straight back and then went down like that. Never supposed to be a hairline that goes like that and then all of a sudden just kind of deviates and goes down like that. See, but we have not understood the true anatomy of the horse's foot. Alrighty then. Okay, this is the one foot. So this foot is not done, but this foot is awesome. But we're not used to seeing this. People are not used to seeing this. Um, and they're not used to seeing through uh, the extra hoof capsule that's there because length because it's needing a trim. I mean, they're not seeing the beauty of where the foot has come from. Okay, um, lots of good things going here. See, now you can start working on these horn tubules and more some on the toe for all this to come back and stand up, and then you have your horn tubules gradually descending in length as you come back here. This heel's going to come up and release more and push this up back more. You see this where the bulb is wide here? Okay, you see this little piece here? That's going to get narrower and narrower and narrower all the way back to here to where you don't even have this little bit here. You can tell a lot too by how much is trimmed out of a foot by the shape of the bulb. They were never supposed to have big fat bulbs. Big fat bulbs here. See, this is just supposed to be the coronary band. That's all. The width of the coronary band, see the collateral groove or the coronary band groove is behind here, right? Okay, the periopal shows you about how wide that's supposed to be. And so this periopal is only supposed to be that same width all the way back to the end here. Ain't supposed to have some big bulbous skin here. Um, Let me show you my horse because he's a good example of a work in progress. His cartilages are starting to do good. Um, but I didn't catch the heels like I should have. But he's got a very straight coronary band. Um, just a minute here. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to show you some pictures too that we have to start taking pictures of the back of the foot from the ground. Not just dead on side, but we actually have to come back and get almost both the bulbs in from the side so we can see exactly what's not only going on with the coronary band, but what's truly going on with the heels. Because if you take it from a certain angle, your heels look better than they actually are. So, okay, so this is like her foot. This is a before trim foot. This is my foot with the crack again. Okay, but look at the coronary band, how straight it is. See, and I've been soaking his foot. You soak their feet and you'll see the truth of where your coronary band is and your bulbs are too. Because that's another thing. You see how it's white here? The frog won't turn white like that. And so when when this coronary band, when the heels are trimmed out and the coronary band is pulled down and under, and the frog also is pulled under, you'll see white clear where the frog should be. That's because that's not supposed to be frog. That's your that's part of your coronary band and the periopal skin. It's not supposed to be there. Okay, so here's where I took a picture exact. Well, see, you can see the other bulb right here. Now I had no idea. Now his feet are almost his heels are almost 2.5 inches long. A good two and a third. All right, because I hadn't trimmed this foot in a while, and I also hadn't been resetting the heels and hadn't been really reading the heels correctly. So I didn't know they were kind of doing this. But look what I got going good here. Look at the cartilage. See? And look at how straight the coronary band is. Now, when these heels will come back and they will wind up being under this part of the foot. But what you're going to find happens is that as this releases and goes right, well, then the foot has to catch up and grow the hoof capsule into place. So you can't be getting all freaked out about, oh, I got run forward heels and everything they say is beautiful in barefoot trimming is actually a distortion that's killing your horse. Everything that, you know what, these heels are full of soul and they're absolutely healthy. But I need to work with this wall to bring it back. And that's also why I still have this little bit of dish here. Okay, see, now look at how this goes around straight. See there? That's awesome. Because when this curves underneath, that's when, you've got that distortion. You've got heel trimmed out. You've got the coronary band and the bulb and the cartilage pulled down. So right now he really, other than the heel that's pulling a little bit of it kind of down, okay, he really has some good things going on with this cartilage. Now look at the shape of that cartilage over there. See, it's not rounded like that, right? Okay, this is a pretty good picture straight on from the side. You can just barely see the other bulb there. So you want to try and get some good straight on pictures from the side where you just barely see the other bulb. So you get a good profile picture. You know what's going on with your heels. And you especially want to know what's going on with this area of the foot. All right? Because this is the part we're trying to correct. Because once you get that inner foot right where the coronary band is, what does the coronary band grow? It grows the rest of the hoof wall, right? Okay, so again, you see how nice that just comes around like that? See, nothing going down like this. And so this is still supporting well and lifting all this cartilage here. There's my big crack. That's another horse I started doing. Let's see. Okay, let's get out of there. Well, I want to go back. I'm going to show you. I trimmed him, so I want to show you how I took that heel down. I actually took the whole foot down to start it growing from a different spot. Um, and I don't know if you're like me, but it's hard to show your feet sometimes because you think, man, they ought to look better than that. Because we've had it so programmed into our minds what these feet are supposed to look like, and so anything that deviates from that, we're like, oh, you know. But see, I'm changing once I have learned what the true foot is supposed to look like. Now I know what I'm looking for. I know that true foot is the examples of the wild feet that I've looked at and a few examples of domestic feet that I have seen. But what I'm looking for is that inner foot. How is that capsule supposed to support growth from that inner foot? That's what I'm looking at. Um, let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you the end of my trim here on that foot. Okay, so see, it's not, I need to rotate it so you can see what it really looks like. That's the inside. Now look at the shape of the cartilage there. See, that's not round and pulled down. Now you see how the heel in here is going to have to grow from here and catch up? But the cartilage is looking great. Now this is what the foot looks like from behind. See, it's got nice straight bars, but I'm going to have to kind of maybe bring those bars over just a hair more because, again, my heels have to come back. That's before I trimmed it. Again, look at the cartilage. See, get this part right, and then this part will grow right from it. Okay, so now looking at that cartilage. Again, we're going to want this wall to grow like these heels. They're going to grow in here. They're going to lift this up a little more in here. This is going to take the dish out of my wall here as well. Because then all this, all these horn tubules I'm going to be able to work with them and bring them back too as this part is lifted up. Okay, so let's look at this foot now. And let's just look at the cartilage on these 2 feet. See the shape of the cartilage? So this is what you are looking for in a good foot is cartilage like this. Now, once this cartilage is right, once these heels are right and push it up correctly, look at where the base of your foot is going to be. Let's do this. Just a second here. Let's see. Okay, so this is going to come up here a little bit more. Be about like so. The heels will come down and be about like so. This will be more like this. And this is going to be up a little more. The horn tubules, instead of going like this, are going to be in alignment like so, all the way back. Okay? I ain't got that too much aligned, but you're getting the idea, right? Okay, on this guy here, okay, everything's going to come up about like so. The heels will come back about to here. The cartilage is going to come up to about here. The dorsal wall will be have the dish out of it. And that's what his foot will be like. Both of these horses will have, just a minute here. Um, both of these horses, in the middle of their foot there, are going to have a frog stay that goes like this. This is what the frog will be like on these horses. The sole will be about this thick right here. Let's see. Sole be about that thick. Uniform sole at 3/4 to an inch right there. Okay, now let me save that. Save as correct foot ample. Oh, not supposed to have a period. There we go. Okay. Um, Let me take another picture of that. Actually, here we just got cartilage, correct cartilage. There's still some of the foot that need the hoof capsule that needs corrected, but that's okay. It's not where you're at; it's where you're going. You got to know where you're at in this journey. Okay. Now let's look here. See, foot's looking pretty good. I've got it at a bad angle, but again, so I lowered the heel to 1.5 inches and took quite a bit of the dorsal wall down, but he's still got almost 3 and 2/8. Is that 1/4? Probably. Okay. And so I'm growing this foot from a different position. I'm growing the heels from a different position that I had them in so I can start working this and getting this to fill in. All right. So da 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 da. All right. Okay, so let's look at our other foot. Let's see here. Let me open that. Let's see. Okay, so we got this foot. There's the two together, and we have this foot. Okay, now I have a. Now, what about this foot? Okay, you see the difference in the back of the foot here? You see how that's rounded? That is not anatomically correct. Cartilage does not look like that. Now, you can see a little bit with the growth rings. You can see that they're kind of funky and down like that when they're supposed to be straight, but they are on this one too. Okay? But the difference is the cartilage. Cartilage is not rounded like that. What now? Cartilage is just not rounded like that. Cartilage is like that. Um, and so this is exactly this whole. Okay, see this line right here? Look, this is pretty kind of interesting actually. A second. Okay, you see this little line right here? Kind of deviation in color. Okay, what I want you to imagine is if you could take this part of the foot and pull it under until this part disappeared right here. What would it look like? It'd look just like that, wouldn't it? See? Because it would force this to round out, force this to plump up and round out because you're pushing this under like that. You're pulling all this to right here, okay, between these heels. And so it's going to take this cartilage and it's going to force it up and around like that. You see that? Okay, well, now I have a confession to make. Well, let's go see. Well, before I make the confession, confessions of a barefoot trimmer. Okay, before I make that confession, let's read what some people said, um, or we probably don't have to. A lot of people chose the right one. Some chose the left one. And there was a time when I would have chose the left one, probably. This would not have looked right to me. But this is because this is what I was taught in barefoot trimming. Okay, I would have more chose probably this foot here than that one. I would have thought that one had too long a heels and stuff. I would have thought this one had work too. But anyway, six of one, half a dozen of the other. Okay, but the truth is, this is the same foot off the same horse. Okay, this is Jody Elwood's horse, and she sent me pictures of it the other day. She wanted to show me what the cartilage had done, and I thought it would be a good test just to see what people might think. Well, where is that other foot? I've lost it. Just to see what people might think if they thought the foot was off two different horses. You know, just to show you, even though the camera angle is different, uh, the whole back of the foot is totally different. The camera angle doesn't really have anything to do with it. Okay, so she's been working at unbinding these feet and at growing frog, and I mean all that. And then sometime here over whenever, the back of the foot just started to pop out, just pop out like that, and the cartilage released. And so now here, and I think she says she's got a pretty good frog stay. I'll have to get more pictures. And she said, of course, this is a before trim picture. So there's the big secret. It's the same horse. It's the same horse. Now, and this is better. This is better. It's not done, but let me tell you what. I'm gonna have to have her to give us a picture of when she first started. Now I have pictures of the other foot. Let me show you pictures of the other foot. Just a minute here. I can see that other foot over here, that cartilage is really pushing up over here. So, um, okay. Let's see. Hij. Okay, so these would be Jody. Just a minute. So, like a lot of us, she had the heels trimmed out of her horse by professionals, not just by her. She had help from professionals. Okay, and so this is the other foot on the same horse. I don't know. Is this her? Yeah, this is what it was at one time. Her. This is what you got to watch out for when you're restoring these feet. That this part of the foot don't get away from you, because then you wind up with this. Now she's corrected this. Okay, so yeah, she corrected it quite a bit. Now these were taken. When did she give me these? Oh, well, that was in 310. At least that's when I made this one, was in 31020. So that was a while back. But you see what that this whole part of the foot was pulled down. Anyway, she's like all of us. She's got this. So she's getting there. See, once you get to this state, Hallelujah, let me tell you. Okay, you're on the downhill stretch. All right, so now I need to do an evaluation on this other horse that we were looking at from the beginning. Um, Here I am, I guess. I guess I'm still going. Yep, I'm alive. Probably just finding out what a liar I am. See, because this goes behind a ways. Oh, nope, there I am. Okay. So that's the big thing. It's same foot, same horse. Sorry. I knew it. Look at Dirk Sorensen. I knew it. That's funny. Ah. um, will Mary? We'll be talking about that, and you'll learn. I can't just tell you everything you have to do to reverse the process right here, dear. But we got lots of information. Ah, my goodness. Okay, so I need a drink of water. Okay, so let's go to ya da 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 da. I do believe that's not the right one. Let's go to. Do you remember who that was? See, short-term memory bad. Short-term memory bad. Just a minute here. Okay, whose feet was this? I can't remember. Does anybody remember the name of the person I said that this was? See, short-term memory bad on names. Maybe it was here. Okay, I think I found it. Okay, never mind. It was her. See, I knew it was, and yet I'm nervous because this is almost like introducing somebody because you got people watching you. Are they going to know what a jerk you are because you can't remember your own mother's name? Probably. Okay, let's just take a meander through these feet. Okay. The one thing we see here, um, I think I asked her how sound this horse was. For all I know, he could be a rock cruncher, you know. But just because I'm going to tell you, that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't still try to give him a better frog. Because when this frog gets super dried out and hard, eventually it's going to crack up into the frog corium, and it can really create problems at a later time. See that? Yeah. Okay. There. See the coronary band, how it pulls down and under the foot? I'm going to have to read her post and see what she said. Just a minute. I don't really like to show people's posts and what they say, so I'm going to read it on my phone. Um, so hold on a second. Just see if you can see up here. Look here. Uh, See if you can see. See that? How that How that comes down between the heels? See that? Not supposed to have, that would not be a real central sulcus. Because your central sulcus, the top where the frog stay is up between the bulbs, all that gets forced and pulled, like the hairline shouldn't be right there. Should be clear up here. So all this gets forced way down and under the foot, and then you get this weird crack. So let me see what she says. Okay. So, um, oh gosh, I'm just having a hard time finding on my phone. Sometimes I'm so dense. Okay. Okay, we got lots of pictures. Okay, so she thought she had a flare. So in this video, I have explained that this is not a flare, right? Remember? See, we didn't look at the rest of the foot. I have not looked at all the pictures of this foot. I only looked at that one picture, but I'm getting so I can spot this now. And you see how that curves around. Coronary band shouldn't do that. Shouldn't curve around and down under the foot. Should be the crowning glory atop the foot. Level. At an angle, at a slight angle. Just like kind of an angel would wear his, halo, you know, at a slight angle. But it's straight. So you think of an angel's halo. That's the way it's supposed to be. It ain't supposed to be curving down here and being pulled under the foot. Okay? Okay, so this is sidewall. This is false funky bar, overgrown weirded out bar. The whole back of the foot here is being pulled between the heels. So anyway, she's a good gal, and I just need to read a little what she said here. So I was looking for her because I thought I had asked her how sound he was. And she said he's pretty good. He can walk down the gravel road without a gimp. So, I mean, you can kind of see why, because, I mean, he's got a lot of dead hoof there, So a lot of dead frog, um, some different things going on. So, I can't guarantee you that when you started kind of trimming this up and getting the frog growing again, that he wouldn't get tender footed. He wouldn't be so great on those rocks. Right now, he's just got this big dead mass of frog back here. Um, in the long run, see, the way I look at it, you're looking at the long run. Okay, because what these feet do, they can do, they can distort and then solidify. And yeah, the horse, he gets by on them, but it's still causing inflammation. There's no way that these hoof capsules can pull the foot into a distorted position and there not be internal inflammation and damage taking place. But a lot of times it's slow and gradual. See? Um, and so imagine now, I want you to imagine now, I don't know what imagine, but anyway, well, okay, imagine that the foot is all bound up and it will kind of atrophy, right? So that when you start kind of releasing some stuff, Yes, they might get a little tender. So I'm not going to guarantee her that if she doesn't go to correct this, that he may not be walking on that road and not gimping. Okay? Because look, he's got a big ton of dead, petrified frog here. That doesn't mean he's supposed to have it just because he is seemingly sound right now. Because everything mechanically is going to be affecting this horse over time. You understand? So you have to decide, do I just want to leave well enough alone because he can step on a few rocks and not gimp? Or would I like to get all this dead junk off his foot and have him grow in a real foot? See, that's the thing that each person has to decide. Because I can't guarantee anybody that once you start trimming this up back here, that he ain't going to be gimpy. Because he's got to grow a new frog, you know? And these bars have to move a little bit. And you might have to soak his feet. Here's another thing that happens. Horses that have really crappy looking periopal and scaly stuff all over their feet, this is why. Look at this periopal right here. See, this really affects the periopal band when this is happening to the foot. That's why you get this scaly, ugly, nasty looking periopal here. And again, this should not be here. These hairs should not be. Well, wait a minute. I might be looking at it wrong because there's the heel. So, well, irregardless, this ain't right. Okay, let's keep moving. Was that him? Where am I? Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm not in her pictures. Let me go back. I'm in my pictures. I'm in my download pictures. I'm going, I thought that horse was white. See? Gray. Okay. Here we are. Okay. So see the very dead frog. Um he's got a lot of soul. The one thing I would just say is start trimming up some of this frog, and get his frog growing better. Actually, that don't look too bad right there. That doesn't look Actually, that doesn't look too bad. I might have spoke too soon and he might not be pulled down under as much as I thought. But it sure don't look right there. So he might not be pulled down as much as I thought from that one picture, but he's still a little bit. She can still do a lot. Now, see these pictures. This is why you got to look at all the pictures. See, that can still be corrected to make it a better foot. Get See, eventually this is going to have an effect. Yeah. So this looks better up here than what I originally thought. Right in here, I think. Okay, but this frog needs to start soaking the feet and start trimming up this frog so she can start getting new frog growth. See, it looks curved there. Well, you see how difficult it is sometimes to tell. To me, when I look at it right here, it still looks like this is being pulled under the foot here. And yeah, her feet are bothering her. Him. His feet are bothering him. Well, because there's nothing renewing itself under there. You got bars that are just solid as rocks. You haven't got hoof that's growing and renewing and growing and renewing and supple frog and stuff like that. So it's going to be very uncomfortable. See? See him switch his tail? He's having a hard time. She says, "Oh, good, I get to quit." Yeah, sometimes when you look at certain views, it don't look too bad, but then when you look at like this, something just ain't right. See, that should not be pulled down like that. Irregardless of what I'm seeing when I look just straight down at the heels, it's these odd angles that you catch some of this stuff at. You definitely shouldn't have frog that's doing that or a bar that's doing that. So these feet can be made better, and she can be made sounder. She's not she I don't remember what it was is not real comfortable on these feet. Now here I'm seeing the growth rings over here curving down. So yeah, the cartilage is pulled down, and the foot is in a vise because it's petrified. I just don't believe in having petrified frog. I don't think that is conducive to a healthy foot. Um, when you look at those one wild feet that Pete Ramey has, um, of that 3 year old wild mare that he got in California, it was in Northern California, where they have moisture, and the frogs are just robust. Then you go to Nevada, where horses are lame due to cracked fried frogs, petrified frogs. Um, so I believe that horses should have thick, supple, uh, living, growing, renewing frogs. So he's got some issues. Yeah, it's like your frog shouldn't be going over like that and filling up the corners. There, you see it. But see, now I'm learning something here. Every time I learn something. When I look here, I don't see it. I see a bad frog and this crack shouldn't be here and it should be full. But kind of when I'm looking here, I'm not seeing it. But then if I look up here, which I wasn't looking at before, just a minute. See all these subtle signs. All these subtle signs. Um, okay, see right in here? See how it's hollow and kind of sucked in? Shouldn't look like that. Okay, this area should be totally full and fat. Whenever it's kind of sucked in, okay, that's another sign that the cartilage and everything is being pulled down. Now, when you look at this small, it almost looks like a semi good foot because it It almost does because of the way the frog looks right here and then where you would think the bulb is. But I think that this is kind of deceptive. I think it's very evenly being kind of sucked down. This should not look like that. That's supposed to be full. See, that's where the digital cushion is being pulled down as the bulbs and the cartilage is being pulled down this way because that's what attached to the digital cushion right here. See, I showed a wild horse that my neighbor has that has the most fabulous digital cushions. Totally thick and full right in here. And when the heels are trimmed out, when the cartilage is pulled down, even though you don't seem to see it, of course, what's happening here too is where you see it is here on the side. Okay? See, this actually should be right up here. Okay? Trying to figure this out. This here should not be going like that. This hair should be up here. So yes, this cartilage is, and hair and hide is all pulled down that way. Again, see, there's the sign. But kind of when we look at that, we're going, well, maybe not. But nope, I'm right. See how it goes like this? Because I was looking at this, just this part. I wasn't looking at this right here, which shows that it's pulled down. Let's go look at my horse's foot. Just a minute here. Um, okay. Remember how I told you uh, how his coronary band is very straight here. It doesn't curve down like that. You know, because see what we're seeing on that other horse is it curves down, but then when you look at it from the back, it's straight, kind of straight across from both sides. But then if you look at the sides, you see where it's pulled down. So again, what's it supposed to be like? It's supposed to be like a halo. Okay. Um, I have some pictures somewhere where I take from standing up pictures of my horse's feet looking down, and it looks just like a halo surrounding the foot. Um, you know, a halo doesn't go like this. Um, so just a second here. Okay. Okay, now see, it doesn't really curve way down here. See how that's straight across? Now, he's still got, see, look here. See the bulb here, how that kind of goes down like that? That's just a little bit that's left. That's the little bit that's left. All this used to be way down here. And so this here is periopal skin. This in here is frog stay. And so this part here used to be clear down here. Um, if you soak your horse's feet and then you pick up your foot and the periopal's white here, and then it's clear white under the foot, you know that this has been pulled under the feet. This is the periopal band. Now this part here still has to come up a little bit so that it is right here. Let's look at this. Okay, see, straight, straight. Doesn't come down. Again, straight. Let's look at that other. Let's see. Oh, did I take a copy of that? I did. Just a minute. Let's do that one. And Okay. Okay, you see the here, let's get up here. Do you see the difference? You see how this goes up like that? You see how this goes around like that? Now that shouldn't even be like that. That should still be more like this over here. Not even like that. But this is all coming up this way, see? But look over here. See, it just goes around the foot. It doesn't dip up this way to where you see this being pulled in between the heels. See, as these heels are trimmed out, then this coronary band is pulled under the foot like that. Yeah. See, it's taken looking at thousands of pictures for thousands of hours trying to figure this out. See the subtle difference? See, not supposed to go like that. Does mine go like that? No, it doesn't go like that. It goes around like this. That coronary band just goes whoop. This one goes whoop, whoop, like that. The sound effects are free. Okay, take a picture of that. So now look at how hollow it is in here. Look at how my horse used to be like that, but look at how full it's getting in there. This is where the digital cushion is, right in here. See the difference? That's because the cartilage is pulled down, the digital cushion is pulled down, um, and here it's not. It's nice and full and plump. Because what's this supposed to be? Here's your trampoline. Here's your trampoline. See it? See the sling? See? This is your trampoline. And so the pastern comes down onto that, and it's got all this nice frog and digital cushion being supported by this good frog here and this frog stay. And so that pastern descends onto that trampoline. Doing, doing. See how that helps push the whole pastern back up and the leg and everything? And how that cushions it protects the navicular bone, the deep digital flexor tendon. But what happens when this horse's pastern descends? Even if he's not feeling any pain in the foot itself and not gimpy on the rocks because all this dead material, what happens when the pastern descends on that? There's nothing. There's nothing to help him come back up. So what's getting worn? Tendons. See? Tendons, ligaments, joints. Whereas here, that pastern descends and it's got a nice fat cushion and it descends onto a nice strong frog that kind of gives, and the whole time it's pushing down, all of this is pushing and forcing it back up. Here, there's nothing to force it back up. The tendon has to do all the work. See, that frog's not going to do anything. It's dead. See? Okay. Well, let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 18. We've gone 2 hours and 15 minutes. Just 2 more hours to go. No, just joking. I'm about to wrap it up here. This has been an awesome learning experience for me. I learn as I do these things. See, that's why it's so great to share what you know because you're sharing as you're doing. See, I learned more about how to tell this whole situation by sharing here with you guys. This is why it is more blessed to give than to receive. Because as you give, you just get more. There you go. So what are we going to call this? Um, call it Nikki's foot. Nikki's foot one. Well, that's pretty awesome. Let's see here. Okay. Do-do-do-do. I'll give her that picture. And we're going to post it here. Oh, you can't put pictures on these. So much for that. All right, well, guys, I'm going to sign off and I will print this picture on there. Well, thank you, Mary. Glad you found us too because we hate to see people and horses suffering. So, wow, you guys are awesome. Dirk, I knew it. Okay, all right, well, hey, everybody have a wonderful Sunday. Everyone stay safe. God bless you. And God have mercy on us all and help us in this time of trouble in this world because we need it. All right. Have a great day. Happy trimming. How do I get out of here? Gotta get out of here.